Vice President of India, respected Shri Venkaiah Naidu ji, Shri Niranjan Reddy ji, Shri Gautam Reddy ji, Shri Muhammad Ali, Shri Srini Raju, Shri Rajendra Srivastav, other dignitaries on the dais, on and off the dais, delegates who have come to attend this prestigious event of Deccan Dialogue. Namaskaram to all of you and good morning. At the outset, I wish to congratulate ISB for successfully bringing back the Deccan Dialogue to Hyderabad and making it an annual feature. The theme of this year's dialogue is economic diplomacy in the age of disruptions. Friends, it's a very relevant contemporary topic that is being discussed. The contours of the discussion has been already laid out in the welcome speech, and the Honorable Vice President is going to speak, which will be which will throw light on the various aspects of this topic. So I don't want to elaborate much on that, but still, there are some points which I would like to make on this occasion. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has always emphasized on greater involvement of states and union territories in India's external economic engagement. Multi-layered diversity of India demands region-specific external outreach for more efficiency and targeted benefits. As implementing authorities for a vast number of issues, state governments have a lot to bring to the table of international diplomacy and help make it work to solve local problems. With this vision, the Ministry of External Affairs has created the Economic Diplomacy and States Division and has facilitated the states' engagement with the outside world. Through the network of our missions and posts abroad, and branch secretariats and regional passport offices domestically, the division is helping in building institutional linkages and promote closer collaboration. Another aspect of the division's role is facilitating interactions of state governments with the resident diplomatic community in India to help bring in targeted investment, promote tourism and trade. In line with the Prime Minister's vision, my ministry is closely working with the state governments. The ministry has ensured that all our Indian Foreign Service officers are fully sensitized to the requirement of specific states of their choice. Also, newly appointed heads of missions abroad regularly visit state capitals and meet government authorities and business leaders to build effective linkages between their country of accreditation and our states. It's only logical that MEA's larger strategic vision of geopolitical engagement also find its reflection in the way our states interact with the world. MEA has also encouraged special focus on specific regions of India. For example, MEA has dovetailed Government of India's Act East policy with its specific focus on the northeastern states of the country. Similarly, the ministry has facilitated investment summits like Vibrant Gujarat with special focus on those states that are comparatively less connected, like Mizoram, Jharkhand, Himachal Pradesh, etc. Friends, coming to the latest developments regarding this aspect of today's discussion, after the new government under the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has taken oath, the new budget that was presented lays out the vision for the development of the country in the next 5 years. The vision for a 5 trillion economy, to be achieved not just through governmental initiatives. There was a period when it was considered that the government will do everything. Now the dictum is the government has no business to be in business. That's the dictum of Narendra Modi's government. So, underlying this aspect, the $5 trillion economy that India plans to achieve or targets to achieve needs to be through the participation of the community, by the entrepreneur of India, whether they stay in India or abroad. So this is one aspect of the coming 5 years of India's development. During the last 5 years of Narendra Modi's government, we have climbed scores of places and come up at the 77th position in the case of ease of doing business. And it has been facilitated through the implementation of many acts, like the introduction of GST, which makes our country as a one nation with one tax. Through review of the policy on various sectors leading to streamlining of the recent days, the policy on investment, which leads to further liberalization. Just this week, during the previous week, we had the cabinet decision on various sectors which allowed 100% FDI under automatic route for coal mining. We have the outsourcing, the liberalization of norms for FDI in single brand retail trading. And just yesterday, we saw the announcement of 10 banks being merged into 4 stronger banks. I read a news item which questions whether 10 weak banks can come together to create 4 strong banks. This is a question that I think is being raised by people who don't understand the real situation. The weaknesses of these banks, if they are the same, of course, this question has the relevance. But the weakness of one bank could be the strength of the other bank. The strength of one bank could be helping the other weak banks. So these issues, and when I look at that, I am reminded of one point which has been mentioned by the Honorable Speaker who did the welcome address. He mentioned about the Chinese influence that is coming up. Perhaps the Forbes list this year, the 500 powerful economic entities, in that you have the US firms with 121 presence and Chinese presence with 119. We are in a situation where for the first time the world economic order is changing. And in that, the presence of India, which is at the 15th position, and that presence of India, when we look at it, we see the State Bank of India in that. And State Bank of India's presence has been there because of the network that it commands, the national network that it commands. And in this connection, the merger of the 10 banks will go a long way in strengthening the Indian economy. From our part, the Ministry of External Affairs, ease of travel has been facilitated by the Ministry of External Affairs by granting e-visa for 54 countries, visa on arrival from 54 countries, and 17 countries provide e-visa for Indian nationals. Friends, digital economy goes a long way regarding the aspect that we discussed today. And that has been one of the achievements of the last 5 years of Narendra Modi government. Ladies and gentlemen, all around us, we are witnessing rapid changes in the way the world works. Though change happens all the time, its extent and pace now is like never before, and that's why the consequences would also be difficult to predict. The sources of these disruptions are of diverse nature, but largely we can see geopolitical and technological changes spearheading the transformation in the ways we produce, do business, interact as individuals and societies as well as countries. In this age of disruptions, multilateralism is coming under threat. When unilateralism and protectionism is coming to the fore, it's important to emphasize what Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi had said about reformed multilateralism. It's an idea that he first articulated at the BRICS summit last year in Johannesburg and also reiterated at the G20 summit in Osaka this year. He reminded that BRICS was founded to address the concern that multilateralism needed reform to benefit the developing world. So, a decade later, faced with issues of unilateralism and protectionism, we cannot start reinforcing the status quo of multilateralism as its exit now. Instead, we need to bring about reformed multilateralism. This idea has also been recognized during the recent BRICS foreign ministers meeting in Brazil. In an era of turbulence, it's important to remain focused on the fact that change is inevitable, but we need to embrace change with an open mind. In fact, if we try to resist the change, it will only result in exacerbating the problem. Reformed multilateralism would be the best shock absorber in the age of disruptions. The New Development Bank is a concrete example of a reform initiative as a response to disruptions, where countries came together to address a felt need. Restructuring of international finance institutions and other multilateral institutions which are found failing in addressing the current problems should continue to be our concern. As international trade becomes a hotbed of old and new rivalries, we need to search for better ways to address its implications. India is committed to promoting a democratic and rules-based international order in which all nations thrive as equals. India firmly believes that economic engagement should lead to mutual development and not unsustainable debt burden and dependence or erosion of economic sovereignty. To be truly sustainable, regional economic initiatives must be based on universally recognized international norms, good governance, openness, financial viability, and transparency. With economic diplomacy for development as our main approach, our emphasis is on building partnerships that are mutually beneficial and in sync with national economic interests and priorities. Thus, our partnerships are consultative, non-reciprocal, and outcome-oriented. Friends, pace of change in technology is one of the major sources of disruptions that we experience today in businesses as well as our societies. Technology is constantly changing the way we do business and the way we live. We need better and more rapid mechanisms to cope and adapt to these changes. A lot of ways in which we produce, distribute, and consume goods and services today will be made irrelevant by Industry 4.0. Reskilling and upskilling will be necessary for almost all professions to be able to remain useful in the marketplace of the future. We also need to be prepared for the new places and methods of origin of businesses and make the fourth industrial revolution accessible, equitable, inclusive, and sustainable. As the single biggest technology revolution that has the potential to transform our work and life, artificial intelligence cannot skip our attention. With India's large pool of technically skilled manpower and the aggregate innovative power of our large young population, we are best poised to leverage this all-pervasive technology of the future. While India is doing great in artificial intelligence research and AI skills, and is also one of the leading countries in AI specialists and AI readiness index. We must renew our focus and expand our efforts in line with our national artificial intelligence policy. Multitudes of issues in the sectors of health, mobility, agriculture, energy, manufacturing and services, etc., stand to benefit from AI systems. And the benefit would not be limited to India, but would naturally expand to the entire developing world. Hence, our young entrepreneurs need all the encouragement from public as well as private sectors. Technology-driven startups have the opportunity to even out development disparities and aid in balanced regional development. In this context, the impact of our government's Startup India policy has been significant. In last 3 years since its inception, more than 15,000 startups have been recognized in about 500 districts of the country, covering all states and union territories. Today, most states have their own startup policy, and this sustained push by the government has also led to a multiplier effect on private sector funding of startups. We are committed to leveraging technological disruptions to make India a $5 trillion economy. Ladies and gentlemen, India has a lot to offer to the changing world, apart from our material contribution to the world economy. Our ancient wisdom of yoga, Ayurveda, and heritage, our heritage and culture has the power to make the hyper-connected world of today a better place to live. Just now I am coming from a South American tour where I had the opportunity to visit Buenos Aires, and I was told the International Day of Yoga had the largest participation outside India. Around 15,000 people participated in the International Day of Yoga in Buenos Aires. That is the power of yoga that is there. This soft power contribution by India is definitely valuable and essential for the well-being of not just the economy, but also of the people and the planet. Our government is committed to development, and we are taking all steps in that direction, whether in the international arena or within India. In this journey, the states and union territories of India are equal partners, and the guiding principle of cooperative federalism is certainly going to be a force multiplier. Hence, dialogues like this are more than necessary to move closer towards the goal of development for all. Distinguished participants, I am sure that throughout the day today, you are going to be part of deliberations on challenges and opportunities that the world is facing. I wish you all success in the process and look forward to your valuable suggestions and feedback. Namaskar, Vande Mataram.